After 2 years at the club, Stuart Pearce stepped down from his role as first team coach at West Ham recently, and it seems only right to reflect on two memorable seasons for the Hammers. Got to see Pearce, I know we spoke about it earlier, this year finished 7th, 2 points behind Manchester United, Europa League semi-finals, beat Sevilla and Lyon on the way, helped get Jared Bowen, joined Declan Rice in the England squad. So many good things. West Ham came 6th the previous season to get into Europa League. You must have loved your period there.
It was, for me, fantastic, I've got to say. And you've got to bear in mind, 6 months before I come back into the club, Dave went back into West Ham, and they're fighting a relegation campaign. So you've got to understand, not just the 2 years that we've bolted on here, what he's done for turning the club, looking over their shoulder and potentially being threatened by relegation, to turning them around to have two campaigns to be as strong as they actually have been incredible. And for me, it's more than just the results, it's the culture of the club changing, and the culture of the smell around the training facility, the ground, the togetherness of everyone from the chairman and Karen right the way down to Mr. Gold, right the way down to the supporters and everyone who works for the club.
Pearce, I've got to ask you, and saying all that then, do you just feel the time is right for you to do something else? Have you had enough and you want to do something else in your life, move on? What's made you make this decision?
I think for me, the intensity of the Premier League, and I didn't want to let Dave down in any way, shape or form with what I'd done. I live and I had a 3-hour round trip, to be fair, hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half coming home in the evening, plus a decent long spell of a day as well. So I'm leaving at sort of 6:15, getting home at 7. For a normal working man, that's probably your normal intensity, but with the intensity of everything going on, European campaign and everything, and I just wanted to sort of branch out and do some other things as well and have a bit more freedom of time, to be honest.
They've had a brilliant period of that, there's no doubt, just mentioned it. What's it going to take? I know we spoke earlier, Pearce, what's it going to take for them not only to maintain that but to improve? Because we spoke about the teams above them, they will clearly not stand still. Well, it's City bringing in Haaland, Liverpool will move on, Spurs are bringing one or two in. What's it going to take for West Ham not to maintain it but to move forward?
I think what Dave's done there, he's massively punched above his weight for the sum of the parts and the consistency that he's delivered at that football club is commendable. It really is. To what you've got to look at over the 2-year period, no team, I think, did Leicester or did Leicester not? I don't know. But the only teams that are finishing above us are the so-called Big Six in the league. So if you, in the league that West Ham are sort of in or have been in, they finished top of that league, which is quite an incredible achievement. Then from there, what does it take to break into the next echelon like consistently? Well, recruitment's big, Players want to play European football. That's a big draw. On top of that, Ali, and I know they want to play Champions League football.
100%.
So West Ham breaking into a Champions League place would be the next thing. But the next thing, if you don't get it right, can be looking over your shoulder in the bottom half of the league as well. It's that fragile an existence in the Premier League. But listen, they're going in the right direction at this moment in time. Recruitment will be really big, and keeping hold of the nucleus of the team that have done so well. The two Czech boys have been brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben Johnson coming through and improving his way with the under-21s as well this summer. So there's so many good players there and so many good things going on. Dulce, rekindling a Dulce.
Unbelievable.
He's been sensational.
Arguably one of the signings, for West Ham for me. I want to ask you, is it wrong to overstate the job that Moyes done in terms of obviously on the pitch, but from the outside looking in, it really looks to me now, there's always been a question mark when, let's say for example, West Ham moved stadium. A lot of the fans, I don't think they were fully united, and I can understand why. But is that in the past now? I mean, looking at the stadium, particularly in some of the European nights, you've certainly united a group of players and the fans. More
importantly, the fans. When I first was was working here at talkSPORT, they were talking about moving of the new stadium, and I said it's not about the stadium, it's about creating nights at the stadium or days at the stadium that get the fans on side, that get them excited, and anyone that would have been there for the Seville game, the Lyon game, whatever, the unity that the crowd have shown to the team has been incredible. There's not been a dissenting word or a moan. Even when we've gone behind in games or not played so well in games, the support has been so unified. It's been quite incredible, and they should be very proud of that.
Yeah, and another thing that I can tell, and I know speaking to you are very, very proud of, understandably and correctly, is the continued improvement and rise of Jared Bowen. And he spoke to the media yesterday about his rise to the Premier League. He said the pathway from non-league football wasn't a walk in the park.
It's definitely difficult, especially with things that happened before, with trials and youth teams being told that that it was getting scrapped, and then to be playing a few games at the end of the season, even though wasn't getting paid. It was, I think, the group we had then. It was about keeping Hereford in the division, which was the main aim, and we done that. And then the sad news of the club kind of folding, kind of come in and just killed the whole group. But yeah, I got a couple of lucky breaks, so to speak, in terms of people knowing people. But I think it just goes back to that work ethic and just wanting it as I wanted it more than anyone.
I mean, that's his rise understandably makes you very proud, and I get that, and we'll talk about him very, very briefly. But it remiss of us not to mention a true West Ham legend. MD watching the scenes in his last game would have been filled and blinking with tears more than anything else. It was magic, and that's Mark Noble. What an impact. Tell me about the impact he's made on yourself, Stuart, because watching him, the days of players staying at clubs for 15, 18 years, you would think are just about long gone. However, what an example, and it was fantastic to see him out in the pitch with his family.
It certainly was. I mean, I worked with Mark with England under-21s many years ago when he was a young man. I've had a couple of spells now with him at West Ham, and I've got to say, the way he conducts himself, the way he guides the dressing room, the way he supports the manager this year has been absolutely incredible.
Amazing, yeah.
It's what everything a captain and leader should be. He puts that club before himself, make no mistake about that, and it's been such an emotional ride the last month or so for Mark. It's been incredible. But I've got to say, if you want to know what captaincy and loyalty is all about, just spend some time with Mark Noble and how he speaks affectionately about West Ham Football Club. And I think it's quite sad that we don't get individuals like him and probably Tony Adams that have stayed at one club all their life and synonymous with that club, because I think it's in the DNA of English and British football. I really do. Why do we not have that? Is it it's easier for players to move? Is it financial? Why do we not have that as much as we used to, Stuart? I just think it's freedom of contract. Players can leave, readily. It's agents now guiding that, and maybe the money's there to be made by moving rather than staying loyal to a club, which I find quite sad. And it's just a mentality of this day that maybe there is no loyalty in business, and football's become a business more than this is the loyalty I have to this football club. And you make... I'd like to think that I've made sort of decisions in my football career not based on money, based on loyalty. Yeah, well, I had the fortune of speaking to Mark Noble on the Tuesday from Seville before the Europa League final with a mutual friend, and he was on the phone to him, and I managed to have a wee chat to him, and I congratulated him on what was a fantastic career.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.